105 years ago in 1920, John and Maggie Tobias were listed in the United States Census as residents of 622 Meeting Street, one block that way. John and Maggie were born approximately 100 after the end of the Civil War, likely the children of and assuredly the grandchildren of enslaved ancestors. At the time of the 1920 census, John and Maggie were raising 3 daughters. And just a year prior in 1919, as close in time to emancipation as we are to the moon landing, Charleston was racked by a vicious racial riot called the worst violence in Charleston since the Civil War. It wasn't easy being the black family in Charleston in the 1910s and 1920s, yet John and Maggie prayed and persevered. John worked for the railroad and became a preacher. Maggie organized their household and became a landlord. Together they raised those 3 girls and later 4 more girls and 1 son. Each of their children became well-educated and achievers in their own right. So today, 1 block away from and 105 years after my family's history was first recorded in this city, feeling the sweet and holy spirit of my ancestors, a spirit that stays right here with us in our beloved Charleston, filling us with God's love. I, Aaron Tobias Polkey, the great-grandson of John and Maggie Tobias, the grandson of Ida Tobias and Sylvester Jackson, and the son of Sylvia Jackson Polkey and Robert Smalls, a proud 4th-generation Charlestonian here on the peninsula, hereby announce my candidacy for City Council of Charleston, District 4. This campaign to represent District 4 will be based upon 4 tenets: F for family, O for opportunity, U for unity, and R for resilience. F for family. My Charleston story is a family story. As I said, it wasn't easy being the black family in Charleston for any of our 4 generations, but we prayed and persevered. And these days, primarily because of skyrocketing housing costs, it's not easy being any family in Charleston, whether it be a traditional or modern family, or individuals working hard to make a way here, away from their families elsewhere. As your council member, I will consider every matter that comes before me by asking questions like, will it make it easier for young people to get a start in life? Will it help everyday folks access most of what they need and some of what they want? Will individuals and families be able to get from point A to point B safely so that they more fulfill their responsibilities, enjoy their lives? And are we making sure our elders can healthfully age in place and celebrate the fruits of their labors during their golden years? We must take care to center the people who live here and make this place special. O, opportunity. My Charleston story is one of opportunity. When I was a kid, by luck and happenstance, I was afforded the life-changing opportunity to attend Buste Academy and the Academic Magnet High School, an opportunity that my neighbors did not have. Today, if you live down on Charlotte Street in Mazik-Ragbaro in the Garden District, you will likely access many more opportunities than the Charlestonian who lives just 2 miles north on Morrison Drive in Bayside Bridgeview Apartments. Both of these areas are in District 4. That short distance from abundance to scarcity also happens to be the thinnest line between peace and violence. As your council member, I will push for opportunities for our young people to safely learn, socialize, work, and be mentored with an eye towards access and opportunity, instead of relying on temporary and punitive band-aids in the name of public safety. Those sorts of band-aids do not heal. They hide the scabs and wait for the wounds to become someone else's problem. U, unity. My Charleston story is one of unity. My very existence and countless life experiences are testaments to how people from starkly different backgrounds can get along and work things out, even when the world does not want them to. Recently, the Post and Courier ran a story about Hampstead Square on the east side, where on one side, white people have carved out an illegal dog park, and on the other side, black people have carved out an illegal drinking area. That division is best summarized by this quote, dog owners argue with me and say, my dog doesn't bite you and won't let them run, and you won't let them run free, but you let those men drink. That's against the law, and you only enforce the law with me. And I try to explain, the person said, but you're acting like them, breaking the rules. So now that there are only 2 parks here, both uncomfortable for children and elderly women instead of 1. We have to stop the finger pointing and get to talking with one another. As your council member, I will help build unity by facilitating safe, challenging, and constructive conversations in all parts of District 4. And finally, R, resilience. My Charleston story is one of resilience. I know which streets to avoid when it floods. Although Charleston was built on the marsh, the ocean is rising and the land is sinking at a rate much quicker than anticipated. In order to survive a future rife with flooding and fraught with catastrophic storm surge, we're going to have to be creative with our infrastructure, cautious with where and how we construct new buildings, and clear-eyed about the places we may have to return to the marsh. But resilience isn't only about roads and buildings, it's about people too. As your council member, I will scour every investment that is intended to mitigate flooding and sea level rise and storm surge for ways to prepare everyday people for the real-life impacts on their homes, their livelihoods, and their access to healthcare and everyday necessities. 4 for District 4, families, opportunity, unity, and resilience. Over the course of this campaign, you will learn more about my lived and professional experiences in each of those areas and more. How I fought for safe and affordable housing, especially for renters. How I'm partnering with and learning from community stalwarts who promote meaningful mentoring for young people. That I travel around the country as a subject matter expert in facilitating unifying conversations that lead to tangible action, especially when it comes to ending violence. And how I am positioning myself as the people's voice in resiliency dialogue statewide. I am an attorney, a nonprofit executive, and a national leader in solving our greatest challenges. For older and newer Charlestonians alike, our residential livability, economic environmental sustainability, and unique cultural fabric are at existential risk. As an old school Charlestonian with an eye for the future, I am grounded in the highs and lows of our past, experienced in solving today's challenges, and deeply vested in my hometown's social cohesion and future prosperity. All of this is why I'm running for City Council. Together, let's preserve our quality of life, protect what makes us unique, and prepare a prosperous future for all Charlestonians.